When you hear the word railroad, a lot of images might come to mind. You might think of your favorite train ride as a kid. You might think of that annoying crossing that you have to stop at for a 2-mile long train to pass. Or maybe your grandpa had a miniature railroad set in their basement that he couldn't wait to show you every visit. In the United States judicial system, there is another definition for the word railroad. To railroad someone is to send someone to prison without a fair trial or by means of false evidence. That's exactly what happened to Ronald Raheem Thomas, or Hollowman, who was 25 years old at the time. To this day, Hollowman pleads innocence in the April 2010 death of Anwar Ashmore, who was 23 at the time. Not only that, but the media didn't do him any favors either in the almost 14 years he was locked up. Take this article from 2018 titled, "North Philly rapper whose lyrics became evidence gets convicted again." That's right, Hollowman was convicted of the same murder twice. The article read, quote, "According to court testimony, Thomas killed Anwar Ashmore for his role in the 2009 theft of a brick of cocaine worth $40,000 from a stash house controlled by Thomas. In September of that year, Thomas, known as Hollowman, released a mixtape, Airbleed, which included the lyrics, "Half a brick missing, and it's one of my niggas. Can't point fingers, cause I don't know who did it. But soon as I find out, I swear that nigga finished." Months later, Ashmore was gunned down near the corner store of Stanley and Huntington Streets in front of a handful of Team A members, according to trial testimony. Team A or A-Team has previously gone by both names, so throughout this story, I might use them interchangeably, but they are the same thing. Back to the article. It read, during Hollowman Thomas's 2013 trial, city prosecutors introduced the song as evidence. A jury convicted him of murder. A superior court panel overturned the verdict in October of 2015 after Thomas argued the lyrics were prejudicial and should have not been shared with jurors. William Ashmore, the victim's father, said Wednesday that he was not surprised that a second jury found Thomas guilty. "I expected it. It's nothing new to me. I wish it didn't have to happen, but it is what it is," said Ashmore, who was 61 at the time. While conceding his son was one of 3 men who stole drugs from Thomas, Ashmore called senseless both the slang and the high crime rate in North Philadelphia. "The sad part is, I knew all of those guys," he said. "So when it happened, everybody ran to me and said, 'Hollowman just killed your son.'" After the killing, William Ashmore said Thomas had the nerve to go downtown the next day to order up some Rest in Peace t-shirts. Ashmore said he regrets that his son did not listen to him about staying away from drugs and that he left behind a daughter who was 9 at the time. "I knew what he was about," the father said. "He was about the streets and I couldn't get through to him." People trust newspapers and media in general. Not everyone, but most people who read this article will come away thinking, well, this man got a second trial and still lost. The justice system must have worked. The problem is, it might not have worked in this instance. Like I said, Hollowman to this day maintains his innocence. That leads to the question, how would an innocent man get convicted twice in a justice system that touts its objectivity and fairness? False convictions happen more than people know. From coerced pleas to false confessions to witness misidentification, inadequate defense counsel, prosecutorial and police misconduct, which happens way more than people think. Since 1992, the Innocence Project has helped free hundreds of people in the state of Pennsylvania alone. I can't say that Hollowman is innocent in this crime. After all, he was convicted twice of the same murder. The state has a compelling argument. The streets ultimately know the answer. But here, we are looking at how Hollowman was convicted, not if the conviction was true or not. Raheem Hollowman Thomas, a Philadelphia native born in the Raymond Rosen housing projects, faced a tumultuous journey that involved multiple moves around the city and interactions with the law. Despite a stint in the early 2000s that reportedly landed him behind bars for 3 years, Hollowman emerged as a prominent figure during the DVD era. Resembling Meek Mill, dark-skinned, skinny, braids, but he was distinctively different. He was associated with Team A, a rap group entrenched in the streets of Strawberry Mansion. A turning point in Hollowman's life occurred on April 22, 2010, when Anwar Ashmore, also a member of Team A, was fatally shot near Stanley and Huntington Streets. Hollowman, close friends with Ashmore, found himself at the center of a controversial investigation. The prosecution's theory revolved around an alleged drug robbery from Hollowman's stash house in 2009, claiming that he thirsted for revenge, setting the stage for what some call a miscarriage of justice. On April 28, 2010, the police searched Hollowman's home, recovering rap CDs, including one titled Earbleed and containing the song Take It How You Wanna. They also found a t-shirt mourning Ashmore's death. Subsequently, Hollowman was arrested. The investigation lacked eyewitnesses at first, but a month later, Raphael Spearman, found with a .45 caliber handgun tied to the murder, implicated Hollowman after a police chase brought him into custody. Over the following days and months, several Team A members identified Hollowman as the assailant. However, Spearman's statements were later clouded by substance abuse and alleged police coercion. Spearman, high on Xanax, PCP, alcohol, and other substances during questioning, provided a statement accusing Hollowman. Later, Spearman testified that he had falsely accused Hollowman due to the pressure from detectives offering favors in exchange for implicating him. A beating Spearman endured in custody further muddied the waters, leading to conflicting statements and suspicions. The trial became a tangled web of alleged police misconduct, witness lies, and a problematic reliance on coerced statements. As the legal saga unfolded, Spearman's credibility wavered, with admissions of playing games and providing the initial statement to, quote, get the other ones off, unquote. Hollowman's trial became a battleground of competing narratives, raising questions about the reliability of witness testimonies and the integrity of the investigative process. The complexity of this case is marked by its mix of alleged police misconduct, loyalties with the neighborhood, witness inconsistencies, and prosecutorial misrepresentations. In the March 2013 trial of Hollowman, the prosecution sought to establish a case not only centered around the alleged crime, but also on accusations of witness intimidation. During the proceedings, the prosecution asserted that Hollowman, even from behind bars, attempted to influence witnesses by orchestrating assaults and acts of intimidation against them and their family. Incidents introduced as evidence included physical assaults, shootings at homes, and even instances where the mothers of the witnesses faced threats at gunpoint. In 2012, potential witness Dennis "Den Den" Williams was fatally shot. Despite the prosecution's efforts, concrete connections between Hollowman and these incidents were elusive, relying on flimsy and occasionally ambiguous circumstantial evidence. Nevertheless, the jury was permitted to consider this evidence, painting their narrative of intimidation and violence. One key testimony during the trial came from Kaheem "Bebe" Brown and his mother, who lived in close proximity to the corner of Huntington and Stanley Streets. Brown, a close associate of Hollowman, recounted the night of the alleged homicide, stating that his mother heard gunshots, prompting her to go outside and see Bebe talking to two females outside. Brown's reluctance to cooperate with police, rooted in previous encounters, became a focal point. Brown later alleged mistreatment, stating he was coerced into making a statement during a 6-hour police questioning session in 2010. The narrative continued with the disturbing incident involving Bebe's family. In November 2010, after allegedly talking with members associated with Team A man named Rashawn James allegedly entered a laundromat, pointed a gun at Bebe's mother, and attempted to shoot her. The gun malfunctioned and the assailant fled. This event was followed by Bebe Brown's house being targeted in the shooting. Bebe, during the trial, maintained his absence from the homicide scene. That same man, Rashawn James, was later convicted of a brutal double murder. in which 11 pounds of weed were stolen from a man, and him and his girlfriend were executed. A contentious move by the prosecution involved linking a song from Hollowman's 2009 mixtape Earbleed and a music video by Beanie Sigel for the song Ghetto.
Darkness falls when the cold air hits the ghetto streets. Many are called, but few are chosen.
Trying to suppress their poverty by getting high. Some search the bottle for what they can't find in God. An empty stomach and a gun equals homicide. Some young bucks catch cases, ramming on their afters, burn a connect, and let they man jam them for the package.
Out my window, I see poverty. Out my window, youth is dying, feels like death just follows me. I see poverty follows me in this ghetto.
They used the song and the music video to paint Brown's state of mind and character at the time. The harm done to Hollowman by focusing on this connection became apparent during the initial jury deadlock, contributing to their eventual deliberation difficulties. The particular song in question, Take It How You Wanna, featured Hollowman expressing a desire for revenge against someone he believed had stolen drugs from him.
Niggas is pretenders, half a brick missing in this one of my niggas. Can't point fingers cause I don't know who did it, but soon as I find out, swear the nigga fit or acting like I'm 19, shorty, wow. Keep thumping at you niggas with a fucking smile.
The omission of this song as evidence raised concerns about the implications it held for artistic expression, setting a potentially worrisome precedent. The prosecution's case relied heavily on witness Hassan Ashmore, Anwar Ashmore's older brother, who claimed that Anwar had stolen the cocaine from Hollow's alleged stash house. The narrative took a turn when Hassan Ashmore linked the song Take It How You Wanna from Hollowman's 2009 mixtape to the stolen cocaine. The prosecution also introduced Beanie Sigel's music video called In the Ghetto, which featured Hollowman and other 18 members. The trial unfolded with the prosecution repeatedly referencing and playing the contentious song during testimony. The lyrics were read aloud, emphasizing Hollowman's alleged suspicion of the theft of drugs. Despite the controversial nature of introducing rap lyrics into evidence, the jury, after a deadlock, eventually returned a guilty verdict. Hollowman was sentenced to life in prison. In 2015, after a successful appeal, arguing against the introduction of his rap lyrics and his rap career into evidence, Hollowman secured a new trial. However, his legal battles continued, leading to a second conviction in 2018. The tide began to turn in 2020 when an internal investigation revealed misconduct by Detective Philip Nordo involved in Hollowman's case. Nordo, convicted in December 2023, had engaged in inappropriate activities with homicide suspects. The revelations prompted Common Pleas Court Judge Lillian Ransom to vacate Hollowman's 2018 conviction in May of 2021, citing inadequate disclosure of Nordo's misconduct during both trials. The grand jury investigation into Nordo's action had not been publicized until 2019, but she contends that prosecutors must have known about his conduct back then. The lack of disclosure raised concerns about the fairness of the trials. Despite this breakthrough, the district attorney's office did not drop the charges against Hollowman immediately. The prosecutor acknowledged that information about Nordo's misconduct should have been shared with Thomas's defense attorney, yet Thomas remained incarcerated, pending a potential third trial. District Attorney Larry Krasner eventually dropped the charges against Ronald Hollowman Thomas in 2023. In January of 2024, after enduring 14 years of imprisonment, Hollowman was released. This case raises questions about the intersection of legal proceedings, the influence of artistic expression, and the impact of police misconduct on the criminal justice system. Whether innocent or guilty, Hollowman's journey through the legal system underscores the complexities and challenges inherent in pursuing justice. This is a tale of troubled teens hanging around with older guys and using rap music to try and legitimize their street dealings. Hollowman and crew were known to have the area on smash when it came to those blocks, so these are all lessons of how messy the street can get and how tenuous loyalties are. Ronald Hollowman Thomas is back out and trying to figure out the best path forward. It seems he's back to rapping, and hopefully he just leaves it at that this time around. Hollowman was twice convicted of murder, but ultimately he got out on a technicality and now has a second chance on life. Hassan Ashmore holds fast to the story that Hollowman killed his brother, and the truth is now left to history.
I just want to explain out there to people so y'all can understand why I'm angry and why I feel the way that I feel. I don't like to be like this, but I'm going to tell y'all why I am. When Ironwood was killed back in April 2010, it was April 22nd, 2010 to be exact. I was at work, and before that, I used to go to his house every single day in the morning because I used to work from 7 o'clock at night until 7 o'clock in the morning. So when I dropped my kids off, my two daughters, when I used to drop them off at Ethel Island, I used to go to Ironwood house because he used to live right next to my mom and dad. So every morning I was used to knocking on his door. So, you know, he'll call his man, I ain't gonna say no names, and, you know, I walk around to his man crib, and then, you know, I do what I had to do, and then I go back home. But on April 22nd, when I got that phone call that Ironwood was dead, when Ironwood got killed, well not dead, when Ironwood got killed, and I left work, and I went home. I remember I asked my dad, I was like, well, what happened? And he was like that, and what I'm about to say, I don't want anybody to take personal, because I don't feel like this towards anybody, but I do get upset and I do get mad, but please, nobody take this personal. This is just me telling the truth. On April 22nd, 2010, at 10:34 to be exact, when I received the phone call at work that Ironwood had got killed, I went home and I talked to my dad, and the first thing he said was that Hollowman killed your brother. And he told me, I don't believe that. He said, because Hollowman always shake my hand, he called me uncle, he called your mom aunt, he over my house almost every day. Like, what reason would he have to kill your brother? So, me being me, had to take my dad in the car, and I had to tell him, this is the reason why. One of the most hardest things that I ever had to do in my life was to sit down and tell my dad why his son was killed. And when I did that, it was like, alright, he did it. You know, I'm not saying no names, and I don't want to put anybody on blast. And, you know, Hollowman killed your son. So what I did was, you know, told my dad why. So he was like, alright, cool. He was upset about it, of course, but I had to tell him why. So since I was a veteran, I went to the VA and I seen a psychiatrist, and I was telling the psychiatrist that, you know, I was mad that they killed my little brother. I was mad. We wouldn't be mad. That was my last little brother. They knew that was my little brother. All young boys who want to ride, I ain't saying no names. I told them, no, y'all not coming with me, man. Because what I'm about to do is, like, this ain't no movie. We're not going to wake up tomorrow and everything be cool. If y'all get killed, I'm going to have to carry that death with me as well. That is something that I did not want to do. So everybody fall back. I got this. So I used to be on that block every single day looking for the person Hollowman was locked up, so I wasn't worrying about him. But y'all 3 people who went and gave him the gun and planned it,
I'm gonna leave it there for now. Thanks for watching American Confidential, and until next time, be safe.